these and inclinations. An inclination just means a person's natural tendency or urge to act a certain way. So, another word for this, or another thing that popped into my head, was passion, right? It's a passion that you have inside. It's what motivates you to get out of bed on a Saturday morning at 7 o'clock, right? Because I know for me, I'm not getting out of bed on Saturday at 7 o'clock for anything. I don't care how much I love art. I don't care how much I really enjoy spending like quality time with. I am not getting out of bed at 7 o'clock in the morning, right? On a Saturday. During the week, okay. Saturday, I'm having some troubles. So the Bible explains heart a little bit more in detail. And I'm going to have some verses up here that I'll have you guys read. But my heart determines why I say the things I do. Who wants to read the verse that's going to come up? Hopefully. Maybe. Got a hand right here. Oh, yay. It's actually there. Thanks, guys.
The mouth speaks what the heart is full of.
So again, the heart determines why I say the things I do. So what your heart is full of is what you speak. Okay? So I'm going to just be real honest here. I can't play Halo. Like, I don't know if anybody plays Halo or if you know what Halo is. It's a video game. I love Halo. Oh my gosh, I love Halo. But let me tell you, my language changes when I play Halo. My language changes to an extreme when I play Halo, right? I now have a child inside of me that can hear. So I really can't go and play Halo anymore. Like, that's just gone. I should probably just sell it. Because it's what my heart is full of. It's what I spend a lot of time doing. I get addicted to it and motivated by it. I wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning to play it on a Saturday. I really like Halo. But what comes out of me is not what I want that's filled within me with my heart. Does that make sense? And it shows, like with me specifically, it shows. So the other thing, my heart determines why I feel the way I do. So I got another verse. Who wants to read? Scarlett wants to read.
Yeah, she does.
Don't make eye contact with me. Just kidding. Be careful over here. I'm coming for you guys next.
The Word of God examines the very thoughts and motives of a man's heart.
Right, exactly. So why I feel the way I do. The Word of God examines the very thoughts and motives of a man's heart. It's what's inside of you, right? When I play Halo a lot and I'm addicted to it, it's what I do. Like, I'm the kind of person that, like, homework, nah. Work, maybe. Like, I'm so addicted to it. It's to that extreme. So what I do is what shows. Number 3, why I act the way I do. I got one more verse for you up here. Someone over here, who wants to read? Mr. Voss wants to read. I gave you guys a beat. Like, someone could have raised their hand.
Guard your hearts, for it is the wellspring of life.
Right. Because you guys think I act really nice when I play Halo a lot? Does anybody not know what Halo is? Am I just like... So Halo is a video game where you just are very not nice to people. That's the best way of saying it. Yeah, you kill. You are online with other people and say not nice things. But it changes how I act. I'm not the nicest person when I play Halo. So that's my example for this. It's why I avoid Halo. It's why I don't play it anymore. It's why I fill my time doing other things. So what's the purpose of heart? Well, it's the same exact purpose as the probably olive shape, but the spiritual gifts. It's to be able to accomplish the purpose that God placed on your life. Revelations 17:17 says, God has put it into their hearts to accomplish his purpose, right? So God actually put something inside of you that motivates you to accomplish his purpose, and that's your heart, right? It's who you are and your character. It's who you are that motivates you. It's your passions. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So, what's your purpose in life? Right? It's why you go to school, right? That's the whole reason, so that you can find your purpose, right? Because you go to school, and then you find a job, or you go to school, and then you go to college, and then you find a job, right? No one's falling for this. Good job. You guys are on it. So the word purpose, when I stumbled on this when I was doing my teaching, I realized that word is really heavy. Does anybody else feel like that word is very heavy? Like it's an expectation set on you, right? You must know your purpose. I think it's coming from the enemy saying, you're 16 years old, you must know your purpose right now. You're 18 years old, why don't you know your purpose yet? Seniors, or almost seniors, because I don't know if I have any seniors here today. 1, 2, 3, okay, good. If you guys don't feel this pressure yet, you will. If you apply to college, one of the first things that they ask you, what's your major? Right? So at 17 or 18 years old, you're asked what your major is. You're asked what, and the major is what you're going to graduate with, which inevitably is what you're going to do for your career, which is your whole life's purpose. Or so the world tells us. Does that make sense? It's very stressful. I know for me, when I was in high school, I loved psychology. I loved it in middle school, and then I had Mr. Cole in high school. If you guys haven't had Mr. Cole yet, and you have an opportunity to take him in high school, take his psychology class if you're in Douglas. It's amazing, right? So I fell in love with psychology, but I was so afraid of going into psychology as a career, hearing people's things that they're going through, their emotions, their pain, and not feeling like I would be able to leave it at the office, right? I wasn't a Christian in high school, so I didn't know that there was another way, which is leaving it with God. But for me, I thought, nope, I don't think I'm strong enough. I can't do that. So I went to WNC, and I started doing art. Art. I actually really miss art at the college level. There's something about it, the smell when you walk in that room, the feeling, the temperature, all of the art supplies. It's totally messy and disgusting in those rooms. If you're a clean freak, probably don't do those. Because it really is. It's just a disaster in those rooms. But there's something so comforting that I found about it. And I was good at art. Like, I won art shows. Like, I did really, really well. But the thing is at the end of the day, I never felt accomplished. I started figuring out that I only felt good or full about myself when other people would tell me my art was good. So when my teacher was like, whoa, hold on, this is amazing, I was like, I'm taking art for the rest of my life, right? But then when the teacher forgot about me, or my peers didn't say anything, I didn't feel that same passion. And that's not what art's about. Art's for you, right? It's for you and for God. I never ever felt me, and I never ever felt God in my art, ever. Like, to this day, I still don't feel God in art. And so I think it's super important to be aware of that. If you're not feeling God in something that you're just naturally good at, maybe it's not where God's leading you. So I didn't last very long. I did get my AA in art. I still paint a little bit. I absolutely love it. But something that kept opening its doors to me was American Sign Language. No idea, but my entire life I've had doors open. So I started taking ASL classes. Fast forward, I get my AA degree in, not AA, it's an AASSAA or something like that. It's a weird one. But it was amazing. I enjoyed the experience. I got to learn about the deaf community. The deaf community, there's something so special and so unique about them. They are so welcoming and so loving. It was overwhelming, and I didn't want to leave. And all of the people, like my brother and a couple of friends that I started doing ASL with, were addicted to it almost. We don't want to leave. Because being in an environment where someone is so accepting and loving, right? But I don't work in the ASL community. I don't have my interpreter's degree. I only have an AA. So why in the world did God open these doors for me? Well, my last semester, which was about a year ago, I started the young adult ministry. With all of those goals and intents, was to make it a place where you felt welcome, you felt loved, and we did it with God instead of a language, right? And so God did that on purpose. And he told me I was starting a young adult group. Like, literally told me, like, you will do this. And then when I went to Dwayne and said, maybe next year, he said, no, we're going to do this, right? And so now when you guys go away to college, or if you guys stay here in local, you have a place to come here at the church, which is really exciting because it's something we haven't had before. Yeah. Ooh, I'm excited about it. So I think the point of this is that I am now 26 years old. I have 2 AA's degrees, and I work here at the church as an admin. So what's my purpose, right? Because school didn't define it for me. My job isn't defining it for me. So what's my purpose? Exactly. That's what it's about. Your job isn't your purpose. The school that you go to, the degree that you get, it's not your purpose in life. It's all about God. He will place a purpose on you. You had one before you were created. Before you were born, you had a purpose. So it's not about finding the worldly view of purpose. It's about finding God's view of purpose. Okay? So I'm going to give you some how-tos because very teacher-esque of me. But how do you find your purpose? The first thing, it's like A, not even number one. The thing I want you to remember is that God does not play games with your life. Right? God doesn't wake up and go, how can I make this the most difficult day of their life in the entire world? Like, no. God is on your side. He wants you to reach your full potential. He placed a purpose on you. He wants you to know what that purpose is, and he wants you to fulfill it. So when you're having those days and you feel like the world is against you, just know that your God is for you. I have another Bible verse. I'll read it, but I just want to make sure it gets up there. Okay. Psalm 32:8. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. There's an instruction from God for you. It's up to us to find that. So step one, evaluate which situations have brought you success and failure, right? So we look at art for me. Did that bring me success or failure? Brought me worldly success. I won some cool little things that said I won that are somewhere. But did it really bring me success? No. Did it, thanks, Scott. Did it bring you excitement or boredom? It was exciting when a teacher was telling me I was great, but really it was kind of boring for me. Sounds weird, but really it was. Right? So these are the things that we're supposed to be looking for. So we look at all of our backstory, our success and failure, but then we also look at our spiritual gifts. If we look at our spiritual gifts, we can actually see which ones are going to work well for us. My spiritual gifts, I'd like to talk about those really quickly. Kind of backtracking, hold on. So my spiritual gifts are, number one, discernment. And discernment is, in a church setting, being able to know if someone's speaking the truth from God, right? So let's say that I'm sitting at a different church, not this church, at a different church, and I'm listening to the message, and I'm going, oh my gosh, this is not from God. I get this feeling inside like I have to stand up and scream in the middle of church that this is wrong. Now, I've never actually done that. I've had some conversations after the fact, a little bit more respectful than that, but that's the feeling I get. The other part of discernment is I am pretty good at knowing when someone's lying to me. Not 100%, but I'm pretty good at knowing that something's not right here, or you're not sharing the complete truth. What's going on? My second one is preaching and prophecy. This one's still a little bit scary for me. Prophecy is not the most, it's intense. I don't know how else to say that. I get little visions of what's coming in the future. So far, they've just been about my family. So when something really bad's going to happen, I tend to get like an image of what's going to happen before it happens. So it's kind of scary. But in conversations, I'm really, really good at knowing where to go. Like God places an image and he's like, I need you to go here. So I end up asking weird questions. I end up going on like weird train of thoughts that I would never imagine I'd go. And oh, would you look at that? We got somewhere. So it's pretty cool within a conversation. I'm okay with that one. Still getting used to the other one. My third one is pastoring and shepherding. So this is the ability to care. I'm reading it because I don't want to get it wrong. The ability to care for the spiritual needs of a group of believers and equip them for ministry. The ability to nurture a small group in spiritual growth and assume responsibility for their welfare. That one's also a little bit heavy. And I think it's one that I've always done. I just didn't know what to call it. And then I have encouragement. Now encouragement, like I think when we think of encouragement, it's very like, whew, good job, yes. And like we need those people. Like Dwayne is that person for me. He tells me it's going to be okay every single day. And I need that kind of encouragement. But my style of encouragement is more like when I see the truth, I speak it. And it really is helpful and encouraging. I hope so. Always hope so. Okay, so let's fast forward. So step number 2, look for doors of opportunity to obey. So look around in your life. What is God pushing you towards? Like with me, it was ASL. I somehow always had money to take ASL classes. Like always. Like my work was like, oh, hey, we're going to start paying for your school now. And I was like, okay, I'll go. right? Look for those doors of opportunity. Number 3, wait for God's timing. Who likes waiting for God's timing? Not me, right? I think it's like the hardest part. Sometimes you're just not ready for your purpose. Sometimes you haven't had the practice, or maybe you haven't been faithful with what God has given you, right? It takes time. I don't expect you to know what your purpose is at 15 to 18 years old. Like, don't expect that. I don't even expect 26-year-olds to know what their purpose is, because I think a lot of times it even changes, right? We're faithful with God and we get more and more and more on our plate. But start looking for those doors. So I have a Bible verse for that too. Isaiah 1:19. If you are willing and obedient, you will eat the good things of the land. And then wait for God's timing. Psalm 27:14. Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. I should put this on my bathroom mirror at home. Wait for the Lord, it's His timing. Step number 4 is to just have goals. And it's cool because when I found this, it's the same exact goals that our church goes by, like to a T. But set goals. If God opens a door for you to go to college, what? You can somehow afford to go to college? Like, yes, take that opportunity and go. And then set goals. Like, my first year I'm going to accomplish this. My second year I'm going to accomplish this. Set those goals that are measurable in a timely manner. What else am I forgetting? Specific and reachable, right? So set those goals so that you actually are on a path, so you remember where you're going. And obviously, I'm adding in a step number 5, be close to God, because you are not going to know your purpose if you're not reading the Bible, if you're not praying, if you're not in a small group and having conversations about what's going on in your life. It's all about being close to God, because you can get a worldly purpose, no problem, right? If we look at my worldly purpose, I'm an admin at the church, right? So let's look at what maybe my purpose from God is. So, the one thing I want to tell you, because you're teenagers, and I was there, and I'm still kind of rebellious, is that you have a choice, right? You can follow the doors that God is opening for you. You can follow what purpose He is placing on your heart, or you don't have to. Just remember that. It's your choice. So, what motivates me? Well, first, it was psychology. Then, it was art. Then, it was ASL, right? And photo's kind of cool, too. I do some photography on the side. But is it what motivates me? Is it what wakes me up at 7 o'clock on a Saturday? No, not at all. So how do I know what God has called me to do? Because I do know my purpose. Well, I listened to Him. I knew from my past experiences that I was going to be working with you guys, high school ministry and middle school ministry, because my experiences in the past shaped me. High school and middle school is not very much fun for me. My prayer is that it's amazing for you. For me, it was not so amazing. So I knew I wanted to be here. So I listened. I started volunteering at a middle school ministry. Then I started volunteering at a high school ministry. And I was very faithful. And then all of a sudden I had a small group. And it was amazing. And I was very faithful there. Well, then all of a sudden I started mentoring. And I fell into mentoring. Like literally, I didn't plan anything. God was like, here you go, mentoring. Guys, mentoring is my purpose. Meeting with you guys one-on-one is my purpose. It is what will wake me up on a Saturday at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm not even kidding you. And meet with young adults and high schoolers to mentor. That is my passion. If we look back at my spiritual gifts, will you pull them up for me really quickly? It literally describes me to a T, right? As soon as I took this, I should have known. It seems so obvious now. Discernment, being able to know when maybe I'm being lied to. Prophecy, knowing where to go in a conversation to get the truth and to get the hard, sticky stuff. Number 3, pastoring and shepherding. That is mentoring. That's taking the responsibility of one of you guys to God. And then number 4, encouragement. Knowing when to say and speak those hard truths, right? That's mentoring. When I look at my personality test, because I think we did that not too long back, right? When I look at my personality test, the Myers-Briggs test, it literally says counselor, right? So all of these things were always pointing me towards it. But man, once I did it, changed my life. Now all I want to do is mentoring. And mind you, I finished writing this and then got a text from someone else asking if they would mentor me. It was kind of cool. Nice little God sighting. So, okay, so I know my purpose, right? It's mentoring. Maybe that will change, but at 26, that's my purpose. But hold on, what's my job? Again, they are not connected in any way. Now, I still use some of those certain gifts and things that I have at work. I always have. But that's not my purpose. That's what I do for a living. That's not my purpose. My purpose is mentoring. That's the purpose that God has placed on me. Right? Obviously, I feel like I need to back up here. Your purpose is to be a Christ follower. Your purpose is to move on, move his words on, to tell more people about God. That's always your purpose. But I think the word purpose that we feel from the world and the sin of it and from the enemy, that purpose for me is mentoring. I'm not a professional mentor yet. I don't know if they have one of those, right? But it is what I do currently, right now. Are you okay? Someone's dying. Are you dying? Okay. I looked like you were choking. It worried me. Okay, so the more, just to finish up, the more that I look back at my life and I see where God has brought me, the more I know that this is where I'm meant to be. And the more willing I am to be able to go on with what he's asking me to do. If he told me to leave the church right now and fly away and move somewhere else, I would in a heartbeat. Would I have 3 years ago? No way. Right? But I completely trust God. I completely know that he has me in mind. Right? He knows my purpose. He knows my plan, and I'm going to follow that. So that's my encouragement for you guys, is to start learning more about yourself, getting closer to God, and start getting closer and closer to figuring out what your purpose is. Listen to where God is calling you, so that way you can find your purpose. Cool? All right, let me pray for us, and we'll break out to small groups. Hey, God, I just want to thank you so much for bringing these individuals here today. God, you are so amazing. I know that you brought each and every one of these people here to hear exactly what it was that they needed here today. I pray that they can take something from this, that they can remember something so important, which is that their purpose comes from you and not the world. God, I pray that as they go through their week, they'll be able to find more and more God sightings, more and more doors open for them, so that they can start seeing which path to take. You're an amazing God. In your name, amen. All right, so you guys are good. Scott will tell you where to go.